Hi, Femi. Okay, welcome to the stream. Today we're looking at activists in Iraq being in danger simply for protesting. Some headlines caught our eye, which is why we're looking at today's story. Have a look here on my laptop. There are some high-profile assassinations of activists. Tassin Osama in Basra, according to the Workers Against Sectarianism, was killed for political reasons. Prominent female activist killed by unknown gunmen in Basra, Riham Yaqub. We're going to hear more about her in just a moment. Even a high-profile terrorism expert, Hisham al-Hashemi, was shot dead in Baghdad. Now, according to government figures, for the last few months from October, more than 560 protesters, including security personnel, have been killed. That is our story today. I know if you're on YouTube, you're going to want to weigh in, and you too can be part of the stream. Such a good panel today. Looking forward to introducing them, and then they will introduce themselves to you. Hello, Dorsa. Tell our audience who you are. Remind them, because I know they would have seen you before in Al Jazeera. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Dorsa Jabari, and I'm the correspondent for Al Jazeera English.
Good to have you. Dr. Ali, welcome to the stream. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
Hi, good evening for all. I am Dr. Ali, a member of Human Rights Commission in Iraq.
Welcome, Dr. Ali. And Hamzouz, good to have you. Introduce yourself to our international audience.
Hi everyone, I'm Hamzouz. I'm from Iraqi Network for Social Media.
Hamzouz, it's really good to have you on the show because I particularly want to understand and know a little bit more about some of these high-profile assassinations of activists. Can you tell us what is happening in a broader aspect of why activists are in danger just by protesting? They could possibly be assassinated.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's just protesting, so it's a basic right for Iraqi people and also as a human. It's international. It's protected by international law and by the humanity. It's not just about protesting; it's also about tweeting. So imagine if you tweet anything, your opinion, you will be killed or even arrested. So the reason behind that, I think, because these are free voices, because these voices it's scared the militias who's working and trying to create a state of fear around the community, so they can continue taking over control on the government and over the upcoming elections in next June 2021.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about Reham. I showed her picture a little bit earlier, and when she was killed towards the end of August, it was the third attack in Basra in less than a week. What do we need to know about Reham Yaqub?
Yes, if people like know Rihan personally, you will know how she's brave. Not just because she's like a human, but also she's a women voices, and this is the most important. Women voices in Basra, encouraging other girls, other women to go protest peacefully. I put this underline peacefully. Always the protest in Iraq goes peacefully. That's why the militias cared about this secret weapon that protest using peace. Riham was like a brave girl, a brave woman, a human right defender. She always tried not to like flee from the government, even if they militia attacking her. And this is not the first target her on social media. They are targeting her since 2018. I saw many tweets that she's meeting a council of U.S. Embassy in Basra as an example, as part of not a secret meeting, it's public meeting, and even is not targeting by militia, even the Iraqi parliaments. And we saw many statements from one of the Iraqi parliament member attacking Riham, and she's already killed. So imagine how the hate speech awful and targeting these kind of people, the peaceful people and activists on internet.
Okay. Dosa, the question that occurred to me instantly as I was looking at all of these assassinations was, who is killing these activists? Who's responsible? Can you tell us about the militias?
Well, there are many different groups. It's impossible to pinpoint exactly who would have carried out any of these number of assassinations. There's also the issue of guns for hire. That's one of the things the government is really trying to confront. And when Hisham al-Hashami was killed outside of his home, they arrested the two people who shot him, but they are not per se affiliated with any specific group. So this is one of the challenges that faces this government, is trying to find out who is hiring these assassins, essentially, to carry out these attacks. But there are a number of groups, some of them backed by Iran. And going back to Riham Yaqub, she tweeted a picture of herself with a member from the U.S. Embassy, and there was a number of Twitter accounts and websites affiliated with Iran's Revolutionary Guards that attacked her for doing this. They basically said this person's a traitor, and this was one of the warning signs put out there for her and others, really. So there is this cloud of suspicion about who these militias are or who they're backed by, but it's very,
Right.
very difficult to say right
Let
now.
me
But there
let me
is
share that. Let me share that a thought with Dr. Ali, because Dr. Ali, I wanted to use your expertise here. So Adam is from a reporter from Al Monitor, and Adam wanted to ask a specific question. It is a hard question to answer, Dr. Ali, but to the best of your ability, have a listen to Adam, and then how would you respond to him? Let's play that clip.
Certain pro-Iran elements within the pro-government militias known as the Popular Mobilization Units, or Hashid al-Shabi, are certainly suspected of carrying out some of the killings, but who exactly committed the killings is not known. Coverage of Iraq sometimes portrays the Hashid as a unified, singular group. In reality, not all Hashid factions have the same agenda. The government of Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kazemi has said it wants to stop the violence against the protesters. How do you think the government should deal with these elements of the Hashid in its attempts to stop the violence in Basra?
Dr. Ali, you're looking thoughtful.
Yeah,
How's the government going to deal with the militias?
yeah. Thank you very much. And sorry, we lost
Okay,
the electricity.
we've lost your video, but we can still hear you. So continue, Dr. Ali, if you
Yeah,
can. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. We lost electricity.
How's the government going to handle these militias?
Yeah, I think to be professional, regardless of those who are attacking the activists, and you know that we are talking about protesters who are trying to fight corruption, trying to fight and ask the political groups to be away from what they are doing now, including controlling the authority and using it for their own interests. So of course it will be faced by some reaction from them. And I think assassination and attacking the activists is not new in Iraq. It is followed by any protest, but it is more obvious, more clear now because the protest was more massive in since October. So of course the reaction will be more. The problem in Iraq that since 2003, although we are living in a democratic state as a constitution, and according to the international convention that we have signed or Iraqi state authenticated, but the problem it is still immature. We do not have a real legislation to deal with such constitutional guarantee or all the points related to freedom of speech. We do not have actually any law that can protect protest or that can protect
Right.
activists.
Yeah.
And we still living in some legislation returned back to Saddam regime. So
So,
all these
yeah.
environment actually giving some space for those groups to act and to attack and to assassinate without accountability. We have a term or a statement in Arabic says "Man amin al-iqab al-adab," which says that who are secured from accountability will behave in bad way. So without accountability, we will stay in
Right.
this hard situation. We will have always the activist or protester in a trap actually. So the democracy, to be honest with you, in Iraq is just like a trap for activists, a trap for human rights activists.
Right.
So at the end, to reach out to the result, to reach out to the real accountability, I think the question, are we dealing with a state or not? If we are dealing with a state, of course, we need a state institution to investigate on that.
Okay, so
According
Dr.
to
Ali, take a pause for a moment because I want to show some of those protesters that you are saying are not protected. So this takes us to August the 16th in Basra. Protesters, and once you've heard Dr. Ali and then you see what happened to the protesters, it makes perfect sense. Let's have a look.
yeah,
These are from the people of Governor Assad al-Adani. They were all civilians who shot at us in the beginning. The youths were all injured by civilians. There was no one in a military uniform. They were all civilians, and they were shooting at us from the top of the houses, and these belonged to them.
Dossa, you've been on the ground in Basra. You've seen the protesters. How are they managing? How much threat and how much risk are they taking on by just heading out into the streets? Dossa, I do not hear you. Are you muted? Do you want to unmute yourself? Is it you or is it us? Keep talking, Dossa. All right, keep talking. Are you muted? All right, Dossa, we'll come back to you. All right, we'll come back to you. We'll fix that. Hamzus, you could see the protester there. He had a handful of bullets. Why were people still going out? Why are they not put off by the threat, the risks, the killings?
Yeah, because there's no
Hamzus.
option. We don't have any option. Like after 17 years, after 2003, plus 30 years of fear by Saddam regime, and after that by the militia supported by Iran. So I think we don't have other option than going out and like raise our voice peacefully. This is the only option we have to change. And I think the groups who's dealing in killing of activists, not only outside the state or even the militia, even the state involved in killing. And we saw that during Adel Abdel Mahdi, prime minister before Academy, also he's involved in killing many of officers involved. And we saw all these bullets. So it's not new. We saw how many people dead during Tahrir Square revolution, and we saw we are very soon, very close to the first anniversary in 1st of October from like first year of anniversary for October Revolution. So I think we don't have other option. This is the only way we have. That's why it's sometimes painful to see you don't have only this option to reach peace, to reach safety. You know, Iraq is not a poor country. It's a very rich country in culture and money and oil and everything. You know, even with the skills, we are more than 50% of the community. They are young people and they are jobless. There is no jobs. There is no basic life. There is no clean water. In Basra city, the richest province and maybe in the world, it's feeding not just Iraq, feeding the world with the oil. Imagine they don't have clean water or they don't have electricity for 24 hours. It's very shame to speak about electricity and water in Iraq in 2020. So that's why people they still going out and trying peacefully to raise their voice
Hamzus,
and tell the government.
Hamsis, I've got a question for you, and this question comes from YouTube. And sometimes I think everybody thinks the United Nations can do everything for every problem. But Schlamp says, let me just see here, just getting them coming in. Why isn't the United Nations acting on those deaths? Because they really are, they're assassinations, Hamsis. Is Schlamp actually pointing in the right direction for where the help may well come from?
Yeah, I think we the stereotype of a United Nation it's just like issuing the concern statements. They don't have like a military to go there or something like that. What we are looking from UN, it's to put more pressure and be clear in the statements that who is behind killing of these behind all these killings. It's very clear for us. It's a state, and also it's the militia involving in killing peaceful protesters there. We saw many, we saw UNAMI statements and during the Security Council sessions. It's better than before statement, but still it's I call it shy statements. We need strong, we need more pressure to do that, and we need actions. We need action to stop these killings. These people need protection. If we have a weak government and at the same time we have a strong militia, so what we are looking for? We are looking for chaos here. We are looking for a targeting and continuous of killing young people without any shelters, without any safety, without any plan to protect them. We just go out on the media and still speak and trying just to make trying to always call for accountability and bring these killers to justice. And Prime Minister Mustafa Kadhimi
Hamsis,
still.
Hamsis, hold tight for a moment, because you said the Prime Minister. I was just about to say, Hamsis, can I play the Prime Minister? Because the Prime Minister looked determined that he was going to solve who were the murderers, find the murderers, bring them to justice, and clamp down on these assassinations. This is what the Prime Minister of Iraq said on August the 22nd. Let's have a listen.
Basra will recover again, God willing. This is a message to all criminals and killers. This is a new government that is working to establish the prerequisites of security. It aims to establish security and prevent crime. I'd like to tell everyone who carries a weapon contrary to the government laws that they won't escape punishment, and the killers will be brought to justice very soon. I'd like to tell the criminals who assassinated Husham al-Hashmi, Tassin Osama, and the young female doctor that your blood will be a title for justice.
Dr. Ali, those are very bold words from the Prime Minister of Iraq. Can he deliver? Is he delivering? Dr. Ali, do you want to unmute yourself, and then we'll be able to hear your words of wisdom? So very bold words from the Prime Minister of Iraq. Yeah, Dr. Ali, go ahead.
Yeah, to be more precise, I think it's more important to talk about the political power, not only some armed groups. What is happening in Iraq, that we have some political powers who are above the state, above the law. So this is the problem, and all these have some roots turning back to 2003, to the origin of political system. The political system started in Iraq with sharing everything, sharing power, sharing armed groups, sharing money, sharing everything. So because all the power in the hand of political groups, and they are representing the main deep state, so I think we cannot do everything. Neither Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi or even the next one or after that can do anything without solving this problem, which is the political groups away from creation of the state. I mean creation of the institution, creation of the security units. All of us know that everything started since 2003 until now. Even simple or small job in Iraq cannot be done without coming from political offices. So this is the problem. So of course the loyalty will be to those groups, not to the state.
On YouTube, Danielle Nico, thank you for being on this conversation. The real source of the problem is the leaders. They won't get real with each other and start to get their views in place. All right, let me bring in Azhar. Azhar is a journalist in Iraq. And what's the most important thing that we've actually discussed in this conversation? This is where Azhar wants to take us. Let's have a listen.
Right now, I think the Iraqi government should take a tangible actions against them and announce the protesters or activist killers. This is one of the most or the top demand that the Iraqis ask for right now. It is announced the protesters or activist killers.
Dorsa, what have you learned from spending time on the ground in Basra? What have you learned about these protests and the power of these protests?
I haven't actually spent time in Basra myself, but I've been covering the story for a while. And what I can tell you is it hasn't changed. The time that I was here in December last year, and that's when there was a rumor that started, and there was a possibility that the governor of Basra, Asad al-Aidani, was to be nominated to be the next prime minister. That never happened because there was too much opposition, but there's still opposition to him in his own province. And like Dr. Ali said, one of the main issues is corruption. And this is at the core of the problem within the country. It's not just about this prime minister or this one political party. It is systematic corruption that needs to be addressed. And until that is addressed, these armed groups and various factions and various parties will be fighting with each other for control. There is a root problem at the core of the issues here. It's not just going to be resolved with one prime minister or one party. I think the country as a whole needs to come together and really look to the next generation of Iraqis. They are the ones that are going to be running this country in the years ahead. They are the ones that are going to have to bring in the changes that they want to see. And I think what they're fighting for now will lay the foundation, hopefully, for that in the future. But the government has to listen to their demands. They cannot be just dismissed as young, unemployed thugs that have nothing better to do. They are really frustrated. They don't have basic infrastructure in Basra.
So I'm just going to pick up here because this has been a technically challenging conversation. So we've lost Dorsa again, but she made her point. Hamzus, what is your social media organization able to do to support activists?
Yeah, that's important because we saw another challenges protesters faced about cutting the internet during the protest, and it's happened before, like during final exams, during elections, beside blocking the social media sites and other applications. So to prevent people to access to social media and to raise their voice, and also to share the violation against the protesters and the human rights like defenders of what's happening to them, direct killing by using tear gas, live bullets, and different type of killings. So we involved to create like a different way to take these voices out from the dark, from inside Iraq to the outside, and trying to translate everything, sharing to the people, to the world, and also provide some tools that can help people to raise the voice during the internet shutdown and blocking the social media sites. This is what we focus on, and also we focused on give training for these people how to document the violations and what has happening, and also to protect their privacy on internet or while on the digital world.
Dorsa, I like taking risks. I'm going to go back to Dorsa. Dorsa, just very quickly, I shared this on Twitter. Have a look at this here. It was a tweet from Farhad Aladdin, and you shared it, you retweeted it, and you talked here about, or he talked here about the elections taking place next year. Early elections, not a goal in themselves, but to correct the path out of the current impasse. You shared that. You obviously thought that was important. Looking ahead to the elections, possible early elections for next year, what difference may that make? Briefly in the last 1 minute of our show. Hamzus, pick up.
Yes, I saw the meeting for today. I think like Grand Ayatollah Sistani is always clear in the messages that is sent to the government. He's trying to give the control for the people. He's not trying to take control of over people. He's trying to give the power. That said, the power it's with the people, and also a clear message to the government to take control and trying to control all the weapons that like the weapons with the militia alliances weapon, let's say. And I can say it also, it's a licensed weapon because the killing, as I mentioned, is by the state also, and Iraqi and Iranian.
Thank you.
Yes.
Finish your sentence, Hamzus. Just finish your sentence,
Yeah,
Hamzis, for the end of
I'm
the show.
trying to say that Iranian-backed militia, they're trying to use the PMU, the Popular Mobilization Unit, the Al-Hashd al-Sha'bi, trying to
Thank
create
you,
like an
Hamzis.
Iranian version, like
Thank you,
Iranian
Hamzis. Thank
Revolution
you,
Guard.
Dr. Ali. Thank you, Dorsa. I should say that Dorsa and Dr. Ali are in Iraq, so I know that you will be generous with the connectivity issues that we had, but we thank them very much for being in the program. Thank you for your patience, audience. Thank you, YouTube. I'm Femi OK, signing off from the Home Edition studio. I'll see you next time.